I normally don't do guests right at the very beginning of the show. Like to have time to set it up, but when that's the only time someone of the esteemed nature of Doug Allison has in his busy schedule, then obviously we make as many exceptions as we possibly can. The longtime men's soccer coach here at Furman University, here to do a little season preview and see what else we can get into. How you doing, man?
Great, Dan. Good to see you after the summer. Ready for a new season.
Are you ready for a new season? That's the question.
Not yet. Not yet. Not yet. Obviously, this is 1 week into preseason, so still learning some names and tendencies and stuff like that from our guys. But it's how preseason is. 2 days are not easy, but you got to drill through and you got to grind through.
Yeah, while college football has done away with 2-a-days, soccer, football, if you will, you guys can still go on and do it because of, I would say, the lack of the physical nature of compared to football anyway, but we all know that there's some physicality in your sport too.
Yeah, there's a lot of running. And, there's a lot of running, and they'll say too much running after the last couple of days we've had.
Oh, yeah?
So, it's been the last 2 days were pretty tough.
How long does it take you as a rule to get a feel for a new team at the beginning of every year?
Well, you have an aware. I mean, our team changes every semester. I mean, people think it's every 4 years, but actually we change every semester. The seniors typically graduate at Christmas time. The new guys are coming in, and the seniors don't play in the spring anyway. They're getting ready to graduate and ready for further education or vocation, whatever they're going into. So captains emerge in the spring, but then new guys come in the fall. So every year and every semester, as you have a different team. So it changes all the time, every 6 months. But to get a feel for a new team is not easy. Your leaders are established, hopefully, in the spring, which are Danny and Cam this year, who are our two senior captains. And then all the newcomers coming in. There's transfers coming in as well. So you have a lot of moving parts this time of year.
So with that kind of constant turnover, is it more difficult in your sport to establish veteran leadership than it is maybe in other sports?
Well, we have our team votes for our own captains, and they like to have their own guys in for the line of communication between the team and the coaches, and between us and back. These two guys are doing a really good job. They really did a good job in the spring. But I like the team voting for him, and Danny and Cam have done a good job so far, and when to line it down a little bit, when to vamp it up a little bit. Even through meals, through different, the pulse of the team is them. They have the locker room right now, which is a very, very important thing. But, it does change every semester, and hopefully it'll be a good semester for us.
Just kind of scanning your roster here, and without doing an actual count, it looks like you've got a pretty good mix of upperclassmen and underclassmen.
Yeah, we got 5 seniors this year, very experienced guys. I mean, we will miss them after this year, but those 5 guys have played a lot, been through a lot of very, very tough games against great opposition, particularly in the last couple of years. So hopefully get some leadership on the field from them as well, because our sport is so different to a lot of other sports where they have to react on game day without us bringing them off. No timeouts. They have to react to goals up and goals down, and men up and men down, and referees, and all the things that go on, injuries that go on in a game, they have to react to during the game.
I think you've told me before that all your coaching happens in the days prior to actual game day, or not all of it, but you know where I'm going with that.
I'd say 90% of it is they have to be prepared for every scenario on game day on the field, and I like the game to be theirs. We'll make the substitutions. We may talk to the ref a little bit, but more often than not, I liked when I was a player. I didn't want a coach to tell me too much, except for just a couple of little things about movement, or watching a certain player, or watching a certain situation, a set piece develop, just reminders. But other than that, I like the captains, I like the seniors to take over on game day.
And obviously, it's a formula that's worked for you over the years.
Yeah, and we've had some great leadership. In fact, I just got off the phone with Graham Seagraves right before in the parking lot before we came up here, and he was one of the best captains we ever had. And this time of year, all the alumni are calling. They're all, what's going on with the preseason? Who's good? Who's not? Who's going to play? How are we going to be? Just like you are, and everyone else is, and which is nice. There's such a interest in the program from alumni, and that's a very important thing for me.
Well, what I'm hoping is that we'll be able to get into a routine like we did a year ago, where you can come up on a weekly basis and continue to keep people updated as the season marches on. This is Doug Allison. He is the head men's soccer coach here at Furman. And coming up at about 10:25, we'll flip it over to the women's side, and Andrew Burr will be sitting in this seat and joining us. They actually have a regular season game on Friday, which is the first, official regular season contest of the 2018-19 athletic year here at Furman University. So
yeah, the women's schedule is always 1 week ahead of us.
Yeah.
So they're definitely a week advanced. And their championship season, their conference season, their NCAA season finishes a week ahead. So, it's good to move them. Just a lot of it is, I think, because of officials and getting good officials for good games, and then the championships to have each sport has their own championship weekend.
Makeup of your roster, obviously soccer is going to lend itself to international recruiting, and of course with your background from England, no surprise that there were 3 English players on your roster this year. You also have a couple of players from Iceland, and if you want to have poke a little fun, you also got some foreigners from the state of Georgia on your team among other places.
But they're the ones I can't understand.
Yeah, exactly. But again, it's a roster that's made up of a lot of different personalities and some different cultures.
Yeah, and seeing how well England's done in the last youth championships, they won the Youth World Cup. They did well in the under-20s. They've done well in the Euros. They were in the Final Four of the World Cup this summer in Russia. So they've done well. Iceland's done very well. They're really good at clapping from the spectators. So hopefully they're good soccer players too. But from the smallest country to ever make the World Cup, and we sent Coach Bora over there a couple of times, and he's picked up a couple of really good guys, and hopefully they can pan out and understand all the English, but obviously schoolwork as well is a big thing, because they're now studying in a different language, which is important. But they're very smart kids. The English kids are good guys. Lawrence is a senior, who was the player of the year in the conference last year. A very, very good player, and hopefully he'll do things after here as well. We've got a boy transferring in, Jack Shields, who'll be a junior. And then we got a freshman in Miles from the Burnley area as well. So they're more from northern England, so you won't understand a word they're saying. I may have to translate. In fact, Ben Matthew's doing a little 3 Lions thing with them after this, and just to see if when we put it on the football on the big screen during to see what some of the words are in England compared to what they are over here, and see if I can even understand some of their words, because Southern England and Northern England's different language as well.
So Northern England, Liverpool area?
No, we're talking a little bit more further. Liverpool, Manchester is where these guys, one of them's from, but even further north, and then you got Bolton, where Lawrence is from, and I mean, he says something in the locker room. All our coaches are looking at each other, and I'm like, I have to translate. I mean, and that's bad because it's the same language, apparently. But no, you're right. A little bit further north is the dialect is just a little bit different. Southern England, you can tell very quickly where they're from. I can anyway, but you might not be able to. But it gets rougher and a bit more Scottish, a bit more Gaelic as you go further and further north towards Hadrian's Wall to the Scottish, and that's the further north you get. My parents are from Scotland, so fortunately I understand a little bit of what these guys are saying too.
Because of your background there, obviously it makes for a natural pipeline for you to go and get those players.
Yeah, but you've got to get the right ones.
Right.
You've got to get very good students. You've got to get guys that mix well with the community, and you had Kevin and Sven over here from Germany. Lewis just graduated from a year or so ago from Scotland. Brendan from Australia graduated last year. But they were really good kids in the Furman student body as well. Those kids were visible. They were seen. They're in front of the classroom as well. And they took part in a lot of different things at Furman, not just on the soccer field. So I like it. I mean, our guys have really good friends on the tennis team. English guys as well, Australian guys. And it is great to have that mix here. I love the diversity of the athletes here.
So what did you see out of your team in the first exhibition game against nationally ranked Wake Forest, 4-4 game? I mean, eight goals in an exhibition game. We may not see 8 goals during a stretch of regular season play of 3 or 4 games. But what did you see in that game?
Well, Clay Hendricks came up to me and said, you tied 54-54, 56, 50, whatever it was. That's a football score compared to them. Yeah. I said, yeah, we're bringing fans back. That's what we're supposed to do in exhibition games, Dan. So it was really, really good on the offensive stand, Coach Tucker, but really bad for my goalkeeper coaches and defensive coaches. So we got some really good things going, some really bad things going. So we don't know yet where we are. I mean, it's a complete mix, but to score 4 goals against Wake Forest, I don't know when the last time they've had 4 goals scored against them. And there's a 25-minute spell there where we dominated them. But beginning of the second half, they took it to us and scored 3 goals. And then what I was most happy about was we came back from a 1-0 deficit. We came back from a 4-3 deficit, and we didn't stop. We kept going. Emery May scored a great goal, and it was a lot of work and hustle by him to score that goal. There's a lot of other people wouldn't have scored that goal. The work rate from him to score that goal to tie it 4-4. And then the last 5 minutes, Max Fisher made an unbelievable save on a penalty kick.
Yeah.
And so there's some really good areas, and there's stuff we've got to work on, and that's preseason.
So how do you approach it? I mean, do you go with the philosophy that we're going to play a lot of guys just to see how they perform, or are you starting when exhibition games get here, starting to tune in on these are going to be the top 11 guys and so forth and so on? How do you approach it?
Completely differently every game. Wake Forest is obviously a really tough game, but I mean at that point, you know, you want to see your kids in exhibitions. You want to see them how they perform, but you know, some of them did very well, some of them didn't, and they're the ones who have to pick it up. And it's just who plays with who, the gelling of that kind of the defensive gel of the guys. And obviously, it was a 4th day of preseason. I was still learning names. You know, I mean, so going into Winthrop on Saturday, I'll see if I know all the kids by then.
Yeah.
But they've got to get to know each other. And again, this is their day. There's some really good things, and there's some things that we really have to work on.
So basically, you're looking in games like this, just looking at some different combinations to see who gels with who, and trying to find that I don't know if there's ever a perfect combination, but as close as you can get when the season opener gets here.
Yeah, and there was a couple of guys. I mean, Cam didn't play, our captain. He was slightly knocked up, so we didn't let him play. And I wanted to put Fish in goal. Towards the end, he came in very fit, great attitude this year. He's really pushing Ben for a starting spot, and I mean, he's earned that time. So, you know, last year Ben would have played the whole game. This year, Fish got 20 minutes and probably get a little bit more in the Winthrop game because he needs to be game ready, and he certainly was. He came in and made a difference.
So you've got the second exhibition on Saturday with Winthrop. Just from an approach standpoint, how will that be different than game 1?
Well, we've got to know our kids just a little bit more. We've worked on a lot of defensive work, and now we're starting to change a little bit into the attacking mode. And again, what combinations work? Because we're a week away on Saturday from our tournament at Ohio State. So that's where we have to be ready. So it's fitness, it's gelling, it's again, it's game day, it's their day. So what's the difference in a week between Wake and Winthrop? And hopefully we've made some steps.
So you open up on the 24th at Ohio State in Columbus in the Wolstein Classic. 24th Ohio State, 26th Dayton, then at Charlotte on the 31st. Davidson on September the 4th. Don't have a home game until September the 8th against Presbyterian. As you look at the schedule, do you have the kind of balance in your non-conference that you want heading into the SoCon season?
Most important thing is that we're ready for the conference. The most important thing. And I like playing the big teams. Ohio State, Clemson, South Carolina, Wake. I mean, I like playing those names on our schedule. Is very important for recruiting. It's very important for us to see where we are. But then when it comes to conference time, it's a whole different season. And now this year we're not doing the double round robin. We've got the single games as we've added Belmont to the conference as an affiliate member. So the whole conference has changed. We don't play each other twice during the regular season, so I want to see how we adapt to that going into the conference regular season as well. And by the way, the PC game just got named as the Quinn game, so McNeil Cronin will come back with Quinn. So if we could do a little something on that
Absolutely.
weekend when he's here, or building up to that for Down syndrome. And one of our players, Emery May, and his father David played here as well. His brother, Wyatt, has Down syndrome too. So we're trying to get them in from Kansas as well to join McQuinn and do a big thing for Down syndrome that day.
Yeah, I definitely. I thought it was fantastic. Last year we had McNeil and his wife and Quinn here in studio with us.
She's
so.
running around.
Yeah,
keeping her active is good.
And listen, that's what we're here for. We would love to do that again. Toughest competition you anticipate inside the SoCon?
There's not an easy game. I mean, Greensboro typically is a big rival game, but Mercer's been very tough in ETSU the last few years. Wofford's always a local rival. I mean, so we don't know anything about Belmont except for they play on turf. So maybe training out here the week before that. So don't really know too much about the guys yet, and obviously it's the end of the year. So we'd like to see what most other guys are doing, but still, everything you've done up to then, you can throw out the window. I mean, because conference time it's a bit of a war.
Well, we're looking forward to following the story as it unfolds all season long, and again, hope that you'll be able to come up with us on a regular basis like you did a year ago, and when we have a little more time, want to discuss just for a bit my World Cup viewing experience. You're going to be proud of me now because I stepped completely outside of character and watched a good deal of the world. I was rooting for England, man.
You better have. I was hoping so.
Yeah.
The 3 lines.
Yeah, my wife and I made sure we watched every game that
were
they were
you singing
involved
It's
in.
Coming Home? Were you singing that?
I don't know the words.
Okay, well, we might have to teach you that, so you sing it one day for me.
Yeah, now the tune, if I remember correctly, is very familiar, but don't know the words. So.
Well, that's something we need to learn.
Okay, you don't want me singing. You
don't
don't want me
singing.
singing.
But your viewers need to come up with the words for you.
Hey, appreciate you, man.
Thanks, Dan. Good to see you.
All right, good to see you. That's Doug Allison. Again, the next exhibition is here on Saturday, 7 p.m. against Winthrop, and the regular season opener on the road in the Wolstein Classic in Columbus, Ohio, versus the Ohio State University. We'll come back, and we'll flip gears to the women's side.